Hello, I'm Josh. Welcome to Hazel's Adventures. This is our 1951 Kaiser Deluxe we call Hazel, and we want you to come right along with us on our adventures. Hello, everyone. On today's video, we're going to be sharing a bit of Hazel's history as far as the time I've had her and a little bit of her past. I've been hoping to make one video a month during the winter, basically of driving, but January has not cooperated. It's been snow, it's been sub-zero temperatures. Now it's melting and everything's a muddy mess. So hopefully we can get back to the driving adventures very soon. But for now, I'll just give you a little more information on Hazel, and you might learn something that you didn't know and might be interesting. Hazel was a Facebook Marketplace find. As you can see, the body was not in bad shape. It did have some rust, but overall, she was in really good shape. All the glass, all the trim, everything I wanted. The pieces that were missing of trim were in the trunk. The only problem she had that really concerned me was how poor condition the interior was in, but I wasn't looking for a fancy car to drive right away. So we did pick her up, and a week later, we borrowed a trailer and a truck and brought her home. Here you can see the poor condition of the interior. Most of it was rotted out and falling in. It had been redone in the late 70s or early 80s, and it was all gone. The floors were rotten, interior was shot. It had to be completely gutted. So some of you might find this interesting. This is the VIN code for the car, the number under the hood. I'll explain what these numbers mean. The 512 for the first one, that means it's a deluxe model, which most of them were, but had several other models, but of course ours is deluxe. The next one on body is a number 1. That indicates it's a 4-door. They did make 2-door coupes, but Hazel's a 4-door. Paint 375. The original color of the car was mineral gray, which, I know it's kind of a bland color, but that's actually the color you see on this photo and the color it was before I painted it blue. So we got rid of that and got blue. So some people didn't like that. They thought I should keep it original, but it's your car. Do what you want. The trim code for the next one is 2808. That turned out to be Caribbean Coral, Valdosta, and some other weird colors. I don't know. I'm assuming that was some sort of red. The seats were an old faded red that were under the covers, so that was the code for that. The next one is Origin, the number 1. That means it was a domestic car. A lot of people think Kaisers, when they see them at car shows, they don't know nothing about them. They think they're foreign cars. They were not. They were made in America. Some were made foreign years later when they went out of business, but Kaiser Frasers are a very American car. The next one, the transmission, that indicates for this one, of course, that it's a 4-speed automatic. Most of them were 3-speed on the tree, but ours was not. The next one, the trim group 9. I don't know what that would have been. That would have just been the options it came with, which would have been the radio, the automatic transmission, stuff like that. The numbers underneath that for the scheduling and the item number, those indicate like when the car was made, and the other one of where it was made, which our car was made in Will Run, Michigan, near the Ford plant, to prove that they are definitely a domestic car. So, and underneath that we have the body number, which the 5121 indicates deluxe 4-door, as I explained from the first one. And the next is 40,888. Hazel was the 40,888th car in 1951 of the deluxe model. Now, they made over 50,000 of them, so they made a lot of deluxes. Here you can see the original 1951 paint that was mineral gray. I cleaned it off, cleaned the oxidation off. This is what it looked like, but my intention was always to paint the car since it was in such good shape. So, some people regret that, but I don't. I like it blue. Here you can see when I started to work on the interior. Now, I didn't have a ton of money, to buy new floor panels or anything like that. what I basically did was found what metal I could use, which happened to be an old trailer, and used pieces of it to cover the floor holes. I did cut the rust out, clean it up, treat the rust, which I hadn't started on the other side. I did end up even tacking some of the spots in with the welder and using pop rivets and silicone and sealing it up as best as I could for what I could do. And after everything was put back in, it looked perfectly fine. After I had everything sealed up fairly well, I put in insulation, covered the floors with it in the spots that I could, had everything fairly cleaned up, and then got ready to put in the interior. Now, when I started putting that together, the carpet I used was just cheap carpet I'd bought from a farm store. Cut it up, fit it in there. The seat covers, I bought cheap fabric from Joann Fabric, same thing for the door cards. I sewed the seat covers myself, hand sewn the front one, bought a tiny machine for the back one. And then as far as the door cards, same thing, I covered those in fabric. I actually used a piece of plastic shelving for the door cards that the fabric is attached to. And everything turned out pretty well, for a budget. I did have to paint the dash again because somebody had painted it a weird color back when they redid it. And I found the correct color and it turned out pretty well. Now, after all that work of cleaning up and everything and doing the interior and getting everything working, it was ready for its first drive where we took it into town. Of course, this was with the paint, the original paint, the mineral gray, everything on it that was supposed to be on it before we did all the body work and painted her up. Now, I love the way she looks now. I love the way she looked then, and she was great. So I do enjoy the blue better because that's just what I wanted. But that brings you up to speed with everything up until the videos where you've seen where I painted it and stuff. So hopefully we'll have more adventures very soon.